Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Finally, we're back into the thick of the action after 1.5 hour, 2 hour break.
2 hours, man.
It was easily 2 hours,
man.
and we were just waiting for the games to start because of some technical issues. We had to skip a game, forfeit stuff, and all in all, the timing just didn't add up. But right now, we are into ostensibly our third game for today. It's going to be Drama Queens on the red side, and on the blue side, it will be Team Ravenclaw. Both of them very cute logos. We'll have to see who makes it out the victor as we are in picks and bans. Very quick, we see Syndra. Oh, hold on.
We see Facebook.
Facebook. Okay. Syndra, Nelly, Zaya, and Ari on the blue side. And on the red, it's going to be LeBlanc, Ezreal, Vayne, and Renekton banned out. Kai'Sa insta-lock-in followed by Sejuani Morgana. And on the opposition, Ashe, Leona, and Jarvan. Alright.
Yeah, the first thing that really stands out to me is DQ. Look at their draft. They have a lot of CC already in the first 3 picks.
Right.
I think they're really just going to facilitate their ability to engage on the enemy team. Let's be real. Any composition that has Leona in it really wants to get in your face.
That's like the Vietnamese standard, though. Going in and getting into the thick of the action, engaging on your opponent. It's reflected in a lot of what they play as well. The scary part is that Ravenclaw has secured the Morgana for themselves, which denies a lot of the engage potential from the opponents. And Sejuani in your back pocket means you can counter-engage with the Glacial Prison. So I'll be very careful how I choose my fights if I were Drama Queens here.
Yeah, but again, we don't actually know whether or not. Wait, where am I going with this thought?
Chufan is so tilted. He's just like, I'm done.
Stupidly tilted.
Yeah.
Alright, okay.
Okay, Fiora here is the top lane. Should definitely work out for Drama Queens. We saw Fox had an amazing game earlier today on that Fiora. It's, looking for the mid and top lane pick here is the side of Ravenclaw. And what do you pick if you're against Fiora? I mean, there are a couple of counter pick options, but I feel like the mid lane is the big question mark because there are so many tools the opponents have right now to catch you out. You kind of want to take something more mobile, and there you go, the Akali.
Yeah, Akali. I think we were talking about it earlier. If you ban Irelia, you have to ban Akali as well. Akali, of course, is receiving some buffs. Was it this recent patch? Now we do have to look at what they're going to round out their composition with. Most likely going top lane here.
Yeah, I think the Akali is definitely going to be in mid lane. And top lane, you might want to pick up a tank or... hold on. Top lane Akali? I don't know how I feel about this. Against Fiora, it's actually not too bad of a matchup. But right now, as it stands, this composition is lacking a good front line. You only have a Sejuani and nothing else to speak of to buy space for the Kai'Sa and the Zoe.
You're also lacking a lot of AD if you're Ravenclaw. I mean, sure, you have the Kai'Sa, but Kai'Sa doesn't really pump a lot of AD until late game. Even then, a lot of damage was also in AP. So I think if you're DQ here, right, and you're playing Jarvan or the Leona, you just stack armor and you'll be fine, right?
Stack MR, you mean, considering
MR,
the ridiculous amount of magic damage that they have. But I have to agree with you, yeah. The idea of holding on to more magic resist is a good answer to the composition that Ravenclaw have. That being said, if the Akali does begin to snowball, if they can get Kai'Sa ahead, then, well, we've seen what happens when these champions, start to run away with the game. There's a lot of playmaking potential, as it were. So I definitely want to favor the Ravenclaw draft a bit when it comes down to being able to snowball.
Really?
But there's a larger margin for error on their end.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to give it over to Drama Queens because, like I said, they have a lot of engaged potential,
Right.
and they also do have differing forms of damage. I think those two combined will allow them to play mid to late game fights better, but early game there's potential for Ravenclaw to pick up a few kills.
Yeah, if we didn't see it last week, by the way, the the mid lane pick was a Lux coming in. So to top onto the idea of having CC and very supplemental crowd control to lay on top of each other, I think you can start to fish for things with Lux, Leona, as well as Jarvan. So these are tools that they have, right? We'll be looking at whether they can make the picks because Drama Queen in the previous game for today, they showed that they understand how to navigate the vision game. They understood how to create vision traps and force opponents to check into the jungle.
Yeah, I think if we continue to see the amount of warding that they have put up against what was it earlier? The previous team that they played, I think it will really start to choke out Ravenclaw's ability to play the map. And even though that might not matter early game, they'll just continue to stack onto the amount of advantages that they already do have in the mid game.
They were playing against WAF earlier today, who got, for the most part, dismantled against DQ. So I think
one-sided.
Yeah, it was extremely one-sided. So DQ, if they can sort of put up the same show, it might be a tricky situation for Ravenclaw to even get their snowball going. I have to agree with you on the idea, like, one-sided damage or one style of damage is very dangerous when you approach the mid game, because then all you have to do is pretty much stack Merc threads. If you're playing Lux in the mid lane, you get Athene's on Holy Grail, whatever gives you magic resistance, right? If you're top lane on the Fiora, heck, first item, Hex Drinker, why not? These are things that you have to take into account, and if you don't get the early lead, well, it becomes very tricky. But the reverse, the flip side of the coin is true as well. If you do get a hit, your mid-game team fighting is just amazing.
We just have to see how Ravenclaw is able to play the early game, because I think we're both alluding to the fact that it is the crucial part of this game. If Ravenclaw is able to get a hit, they can snowball pretty damn hard. But if they aren't able to, I think Drama Queens will be able to hold out until they stack enough MR, and
because their damage is a lot more varied, and they have a much better 1-for-1 if you think about it. As long as they can keep relevant. Fiora against Akali, of course, is a skill matchup, but when it comes to playing the side lanes, the longer lanes, I think Fiora definitely has the edge, especially now that Akali it's less slippery. In 9.14, you can actually review her through her stealth, so there are some ways you can deal with the champion in itself. It's not a catch-all, press W and you're not going to be able to touch her anymore.
And again, we have seen that, this guy's Fiora is pretty good. I think,
is that the word, pretty good?
Pretty good. I mean, he did really well against the Yorick from WAF, so I think if we see a repeat performance of that, I think that side lane is just going to go default over to... I keep getting it. Drama Queens. Yes.
Yeah, you keep going like, it's not Dairy Queen, it's something Queen. It's been a long day for us here in the FSL office. Of course, remote casting does have its cons as well as its pros, and one of the disadvantages is that we don't have full control over when the game starts. We just try our best to roll with the punches and hopefully get through the sort of set of games that we come to cast. The rest of the schedule for today, after this, I think the winner will proceed on to play against the winner of Box Ladies as well as Aries team, right?
Yep.
So the winner of that match, which is probably the preceding match, will make it into the grand finals. The loser, of course, will drop into the lower bracket and have to play their way back up once more.
Yep.
So by the end of today, at least, we will know one of our grand finalists for FSL Vietnam.
Exciting.
Yeah, definitely a one to watch out for. Much more of a shake-up this time compared to the previous FSL Vietnam, or at least the previous FSL in general, because the previous FSL Vietnam, it was EVOS Valkyrie with a direct invite. This is the first time we're doing a Vietnam sort of qualifier.
Oh, okay.
And the quality of play actually has been pretty impressive.
All right. Well, let's talk about the competition as a whole then. Do you think EVOS Valkyrie is going to make it through again?
It's tough because they've already been knocked down in the lower bracket, right? You don't expect a team, the caliber of EVOS Valkyrie, who came in third last FSL Elite, to fall this early in the competition. Box Ladies definitely have a strong, dominant opening day today, at least in the matches we've seen. I think the field is a bit more level this time as opposed to the previous time where they got a direct invite.
All right. Yeah. So, what are we trying to say? Are you trying to say there's like a 2-horse race, or do you think
it could be 3?
Can happen?
It could be 3 horses, in fact. But if I was a betting man, I'll put my money on either of these horses.
All right, we'll do. All right.
Okay, we are into game. The third for today. Apologies for the earlier one that was missed. Unfortunately, one of the teams had some technical issues. PC couldn't work, or the land shop was under attack. We never know. We will never find out. But the team that was, of course, under these issues were forced to forfeit the game after a long enough pause. Right now, it's Ravenclaw on the blue side, DQ on the red side. A very, very cheesy start from Drama Queens on the bottom half of the map. Might just get spotted out here if the Lux walks in. Oh, turning the corner, she sees multiple members here. Great bind though, and the counter bind coming through is gonna lock the Lux in place. The ignite and the first blood picked up by the Akali, and that's not what you want in the side lane.
Well, I mean, if you're Lux, there's not much you could have done there. I mean, put on ward maybe, but from the angle that Ravenclaw was coming towards them, I don't think Lux would have seen them until it was too late.
And if you're invading, that is the best angle to invade from my professional experience, because if you walk up from the river pixel brush, you definitely get spotted out. But the positioning that Lux was in, you pretty much have to stand on the edge of the wall to even get vision of anyone invading. And by then, if you turn the corner, it's too late. You get caught by a bind, you get caught by any sort of CC or hook, and it's GG, right? So this is an early 5k gold, 500 gold lead, half a grand being picked up by Ravenclaw.
And this just plays to what we were talking about earlier. If Ravenclaw is able to continue to snowball this advantage, they might actually have a chance despite losing that draft.
Yeah, I would say the snowball has started early here for Ravenclaw, and in the top side, picking up an early longsword and extra potion is going to go a long way towards helping this Akali in lane. Junglers starting on the respective similar side of the jungle here.
Ooh, that's actually a little spicy. We might actually see them come in for an early gank on their respective lanes.
Yeah, that's it as well. I expect the Jarvan to be fully capable of level 2 cheesing. The Sejuani not so much, especially when she did go for the Aftershock, so the clear might not be too good after all. Meanwhile, here comes the level 2 patented cheese gank.
He actually did this. He actually did something similar against their game against WAF. In the mid lane on Nidalee.
I think Nidalee, right?
Yeah. No, he's not. The wave's just pushing too quickly for him to be able to gank, so he's just backs off.
The management of the wave could have been slightly better there, but we'll just show up on the bot side and then back off. Interesting that this is a lethal tempo Lux. I've been seeing a lot of Arcane Comet Essence Reaver Lux on Korean solo queue, so this is just the standard old school style of building. Not Lux, excuse me, Ashe. What am I saying?
Okay. Yeah, that was a bit confusing.
Lethal Tempo Ashe is the standard, but I've been seeing a lot of Essence Reaver Arcane Comet Ashe, which focuses more on poke. Oh, hold on.
Pause.
This might be an all-in actually if she hits the shuriken.
From that range, I don't think it's gonna hit.
I say it will. I've been playing exclusively Akali in solo queue.
Alright.
I've been like climbing. I think I went from like on my Smurf Go 3 to Go 1 in like a day with Akali.
Okay.
So
well, you'll see what happens.
It's gonna connect, and then she's gonna try. Probably not go for the all-in though, because she doesn't have smoke screen yet. Yeah. If she had smoke screen, she'd have enough energy to W instant Q auto again. But this time no, so I think she just back off after proccing the initial damage from E.
Alright, well, we were looking at bot lane earlier. I think one thing you really have to take note of with your Ravenclaw is the engage potential that Ashe Leona brings, especially when they hit level 6.
Oh yeah, that is like on-demand CC as and when you want it, right? Yep. Whoever goes first, you don't even have to debate. It's not even like a question. Whoever's in a better position just straight up fire CC and then...
Oh, are they gonna hit? It's gonna hit.
I'm telling you, man, it should hit. Oh, there you go. See,
okay.
Played enough Akali to know the ranges on this, and because they're connected, had he picked up level 3 on the spot, he leveled after it hit, right?
Yep.
The moment you hit level 3, you can actually go in with WQ and then get the range out with the movement speed boost, as well as a bit more damage. You could actually even proc Electrocute, but playing a bit more conservatively is this Akali on the top side here.
Oh well, you say conservatively. I think she's gone in for a lot of trades already. Obviously making good use of the one kill that she was given earlier in the game. And if she continues pressure against Fiora, I think Fiora's actually going to have quite a difficult laning phase.
Yeah, the dangerous part about this as well is that because there is no reliable sort of crowd control against the Akali in the top side, the Jarvan gang coming in is actually kind of tricky as well. He will get spotted out on the ward as he walks past, but with the smoke screen available, I don't think this is going to be all too successful.
So he's caught out.
Yeah, still hiding the smoke screen. A bit of a misplay coming in, should instantly flash. Will do so right now as you could see he got knocked up and reviewed for a second, and they went in for the damage to top it off.
Yeah, but that is a flash blown on the Akali, which leaves Fiora to farm more freely in the top lane. Oh.
Meanwhile, engage straight onto the Leona. Good follow-up bind there on top of it, but they will find a kill onto the Kai'Sa, whereas the Leona might want to walk away here. Damage reduction on the W is too good as she finally escapes. The minion aggro, though, might just be enough as she turns the attention over onto the Morgana. Oh, great bind. Unfortunately, our observers couldn't find a kill on the Kai'Sa, but at the end of it, it's going to be a 1-for-2 trade on the bottom lane.
Well, it turns out you don't actually need level 6 to go in. If you're Leona, you just jump in once you have your abilities. And, you lock him down for your ADC to kill.
Yeah, the damage reduction on W was actually kind of potent there. You could see it was kind of... The Tormentor so actually didn't do all too much on top of the Leona, and I feel like overall, this is a decent lane going very well for DQ in the bottom side.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just going to keep going and going because, now that they have this advantage, they are going to hit that level 6 breakpoint even quicker. And if Ravenclaw aren't able to, anticipate when they hit that breakpoint, they're going to be in they're going to be in for one hell of a beating. Man.
Yeah, that is going to be real tricky for them in the bottom side. Looks like Blade of the Ranking is going to be the item choice here for the Ashe. Meanwhile, the Kai'Sa are looking for what appears to be a Manamune, wanting the pickaxe, but I think that might be a terrible decision. Maybe Storm Razor might be the better idea here. Mid lane Ignite being used. It's a counterfeit Ignite, I believe, coming in, and the Zoe is going to use the counterfeit heal as well to get out. This is largely why this champion is so obnoxious. You get a lot of free summoner spells, and you just win the lane off random counterfeit spells.
Yeah, this is after balancing it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, like we did say earlier in Champions, like DQ has begun to create that vision wall in the jungler. In the jungle on the top side, you can see in the river that they've already placed 2 wards to spot out the Ravenclaw jungler. I think we might want to see this emulated in the bot side, since early ocean is actually pretty useful.
Yeah, but it is already being sort of Great Binding and Tormented. So on top of the Ashe, Black Shield to keep the Kai'Sa safe. Meanwhile, topside trades coming in. Great play along. Auto attack and Q. And that's a great chunk. And largely why Akali is so frustrating to deal with in lane. Just because when you walk up to hold on bot lane here, getting engaged upon is the Morgana. Great Binding onto the Ashe is going to dissuade any action forward as they land a stun once more into the Morgana. Meanwhile, the Sejuani getting jumped upon by the Jarvan. They will find a return kill in the form of the Leona, so it's a 1-for-1 trade. But overall, the pressure still goes the way of DQ in the bottom side.
Yep, this bot lane for DQ is actually doing pretty well. 3-1-0 on the Ashe, that's what you like to see. Zoe here coming in for a rotation, not gonna find anything.
Great riposte there to mitigate the damage coming in from the Akali. Had she not timed it that way, she might have just eaten the electrocute. As they trade back and forth under the turret, the Grasp of the Undying is keeping this Fiora pretty well topped up there.
Yeah, it's very nice to see the Fiora actually being pretty competitive in his top lane, despite having been pushed under his tower for most of the lane.
CSY is only 5 behind, which is a pretty good score if you ask me. The mid lane, the Lux is starting to take a small lead, especially after the roam out from the Zoe. Damage being traded across here, having to burn the flash from the Fiora. Didn't want to get caught by the perfect execution coming from the Akali, so just playing a bit safer as he backs out. And the start of a top lane snowball appears to be imminent coming in as the Akali now has the upper hand.
Not for long though, Fiora has just gone back and bought a Tiamat, teleporting back in. She's gonna have a bit of item advantage over Akali, until Akali backs at least.
They're still skirmishing on the top side though, but sending a massive wave into the lane. Is this Akali? Jungle is now picking up their next set of buffs. You can see both buff camps already locked in. A lot of damage down onto the Morgana, but the response is good onto the Ashe as well. Here comes the Sejuani. She's on level 5. No ultimate. Will get spotted out by Control Ward as well.
Yep, you can tell that she really doesn't want the Ashe to get any more fed. Really wants to go down bot lane to try and mitigate that. What just happened?
Kill being picked up on the Jarvan there using the flash and ignite and a double.
Then.
Okay, there you go. That was an instantaneous double kill being picked up in the top side. Now Grand Challenge used by Fiora. The Shuriken is on to her, but she might be just able to fight the last auto attack and the heal coming in. Not enough space, not enough time. Perfect execution not there. And that's a kill over to the Fiora on the top side.
Yeah, and again, this Fiora, if you get her fed, is very scary if you're Ravenclaw. You do not, under any circumstances, want to give any more kills over to this Fiora. 1-0, maybe you can come back, maybe. But over in the mid lane, I think you really have to give advantage over the Ravenclaw. That Zoe picking up 2 quick kills with the double, what's that?
Dark Seal, yeah.
That's gonna be a lot of damage coming in.
Out of nowhere, getting 2 kills by herself, and it seems like both teams right now are punching and going at it at equal weight, and they kind of trade blow for blow. You take top side, I'll take mid. You get dragon, I'll get kills. You get turret damage, I'll get plates, and overall, you can see that the score is only 600 apart. The gold difference is only 600 apart. It's not that big of a difference for both teams to kind of fight back and chase themselves back into it.
Yeah, we see both teams sort of finding advantages at different points of the map. Overall, like you said, I think it's a bit more of a closer game. If you look at the gold, look at the kills, even objectives, I think, close game is good game.
Not as stompy as not as one-sided as the matches we saw earlier today. That said, we still are looking towards Ravenclaw to sort of find their early snowball if they want to get back into the game. Shuriken toss is gonna land onto the Jarvan. Perfect execution. The first part being used. The second part not landing though is gonna mean that the execution might not be there. Golden Aegis is gonna keep him healthy for a while more as the Fiora looks to chase down to the Akali. Great slow on the tip of the 5-point strike as he backs off, and that's the solo kill picked up by the Akali on the ultimate.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of miscommunication from Drama Queens on that front. Fiora was farming, meanwhile Jarvan was positioning sort of aggressively against the Akali. Not sure what exactly the plan was, but that's not very good.
Oh, Grand Challenge being used onto the Akali. Riposte used early to deflect away from the aggression, but the Glacial Prison will lock the Fiora up. She's still chasing for the kill, might just find it, but no, the flash across is necessary from the Sejuani to secure the kill.
Yep, that was just, a bit of a overzealous effort from the Fiora. I think she stepped out a little too far, so Johnny just walked up the lane and stunned her, sort of.
So what happened earlier was that without the perfect execution, she was able to find a solo kill with the Grand Challenge, but this time the Sejuani was there to make sure no same mistakes were made.
Yep.
Now they're challenging for this ward here in the Tri-Brush, but it's not really going to find anything. A hefty price to pay for a single control ward. Solar Flare is down now, and there's a window of opportunity for Ravenclaw to jump in on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, if you're Ravenclaw, you're really breathing a sigh of relief right now. It's just one crucial ultimate gone from DQ. Now all you have to worry about is the Ash Arrow.
And to be honest, very simply flashed away from. It's not as instantaneous as the Solar Flare, so there is some window for outplay there if you want to go in onto it. So Shackle's being used. There are multiple stacks of the Void stacks here on top of the Ash, and they're going to find a kill with the Plasma activating and should be able to find execution on top of that as well. So simply procced right there on the bottom side for both the Kai'Sa and Morgana for them to secure the double kill without the Solar Flare.
Yeah, pretty good engage from the Morgana, dropping the ultimate really quickly. And, Kai'Sa was there to follow up.
When you land a bind, it's one stack. When the Soul Shackles connect for the second proc, it's another stack, right? The Ash had no idea what hit her. She just immediately went to a quarter health. And at that point, because you can't really kite away, you're not very mobile, that bot lane is in a lot of trouble.
Meanwhile, Akali has already picked up her Hextech Gunblade. That is a huge power spike. It is the biggest power spike you can possibly get on Akali, really.
Yeah. And perfect execution up as well means that she could feasibly take the fight 1v2 if she plays it properly. That's it. The Sejuani's gonna get spotted out by the bottom side. That's the worst thing in the world.
Yep.
When you creep into the lane as jungler, you're like, oh, Hawkshot's just gonna catch me here.
1v2 she might have to do. Take a look at Jarvan. He's already pathing up.
Yeah, Grand Challenge being used. Perfect execution, the first portion being used to stun her way out. Cataclysm coming through. She uses the second half to dash away. Perfect execution being proc though means the heal might come in and the riposte knocks her down and sends her back to the fountain. 3k is the goalie for Ravenclaw, but it's slowly being chipped away by the side of DQ.
Yeah, each time we talk about Akali, finding a bit of an advantage, the Jarvan 4 is there to shut it down. I think we really have to give props to this guy who's on the jungler. I think he's shown that he knows where he has to be, and he's shown that he's not uncomfortable ganking.
Meanwhile, the Glacial Prison is going to catch the Lux up in mid lane, and the Sleepy Trouble Bubble will do just that, send her back home. All props to Jarvan. She's been hitting the right lanes at the right time, and so has the Sejuani. Both these junglers, they have known what the marks to hit were and been there on the correct timings as well.
One thing you have to look to is whether or not Jarvan wants to, go to mid, because at this point your Lux is 0-3-0. Maybe that's a little too far gone. At this point, maybe you just want to take a mid laner, just chill out, I'll get the other lanes for a hit, and we'll go from there.
I think if you're Jarvan the 4th, you look for a bot lane gank next to convert into the dragon, because even though they do have Black Shield, they do have multiple ways to escape. All their summon spells are down, and there's no way they're getting out of a Cataclysm that is properly positioned. So there are multiple tools for DQ here to enforce the bot lane priority if they want to. Right now, Ravenclaw is saying we have the objective control, we have eyes on Dragon, and we should be able to secure this for ourselves.
Yeah, if you're talking about Jarvan going bot, I think that's pretty difficult. Mostly because for the most of this game, Sejuani has been just camping that lane relentlessly. So if Jarvan just tries to go in, it might turn into a 3v3.
Riposte coming on the top side, a lot of damage traded across, but tower plates being claimed as well from the Akali. Overall, I think a large amount of this gold advantage is due to the tower plates in the top side as well as overall CS leads.
They also have 5 more kills.
Oh, of course. Not to mention the 5 kills.
Well, take a look in the bot lane. Sejuani's down there again. might actually. I don't think she can actually gank this unless DQ tries to push out that lane.
I think she's just shadowing just in case the Jarvan comes by. Like, there's enough CC in between Kai'Sa and Morgana to buy time for the Sejuani to come back in.
She's been shadowing that lane the entire game, so I don't think
hashtag camp.
Is it really shadowing if you're there all the time?
Oh, well, she's doing a pretty good job, and right now the Jarvan is shadowing, open inverted commas, the top side, together with Lux as well, so they're sending a 3-man party. I mean, just as I say that, they back off.
Yep, I think Fiora's really calling for his jungler.
Look at the items. Double lost chapter on the Zoe, question mark.
Ping ping, hello.
At first it was double dark Seal, now it's double lost chapter. I'm not sure what's going on. Is she looking for alludence into GLP? Is that a thing even?
I think Zoe does go GLP, doesn't he?
Zoe goes GLP with Hextech, not Glacial Augment, not Aerie, I believe.
Well, might be a mistake, might not be. We'll see how this plays out.
You know what is a mistake though? Walking into this brush. There are two members there. If you face check, you almost certainly die.
Jarvan?
There's a couple of pings on that tri-brush, so they kind of know that there's a Jarvan inside at least.
Well, Zoe's puffing up. It's gonna be 3v2.
They're sending the Zoe to counter this one, and they're just gonna make sure that this is a unfair fight if they decide to take this skirmish on the top side.
Oh, spicy time. Let's go.
Sejuani, no! Pan to the top! Pan to the top! Show us the Fiora! Oh, they cut out! What is going on? I want to see the kill! Come on, so back! Oh, man!
Oh, my God.
This is so unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure we will have something back for you as we swap back, but right now, the feed has just cut back to us as
hi.
There's a bit of an unfortunate situation going on. You should see my face as they pan down and then swap to this AFK screen. Jesus.
Sorry, Hungry. Just detail. Detail. I think you need a detail.
Yeah. This has been a long day for us, guys.
It has been, hasn't it?
Like I'm like that guy at home now who's sitting in his Barca lounger with his tie off, just like, oh, what a long day.
Okay. Right. How do you think that fight played out?
Considering that Sejuani was there and first to the play, I think it is a victory for the Sejuani Akali, just because of the amount of CC and damage, like raw damage that they have.
I think Fiora does have, at this point, Fiora should have slightly more damage than the Akali though, and I'm not sure how much damage at this point in the game Sejuani can actually bring to the fight.
But we must not forget, and this is the thing I love about Akali Sejuani, both of them are melee, so you actually proc the Sejuani stacks really quickly. Yeah, that's one of the things that I realized when I was playing solo queue. Like, this is actually a pretty sick combo. Yeah.
Play that in solo queue, guys. You heard it here first.
Solo queue Akali is the best for you to climb ranks. By the way, you can carry one man if you're good enough on the champion. I'm not even kidding.
Not if you're bad like me.
If you're good on the champion, you just 1v9 every game. Because if you are fed as a Akali, the enemy AD carry just doesn't get to play League of Legends.
Okay. Yeah.
It's such a fuse back moment. They leave lanes 5 and 0 and you just execute them whenever they join a team fight. It's the worst.
I mean, if Akali is a sort of how do I put this, high risk, high reward champion.
It is, yeah.
You have to
You have to be good on the champion. If you fall behind,
confident enough to just jump in when you see an opportunity.
We're back to live. It probably looks like the top lane fight went in favor of Ravenclaw, considering that they got the turret.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say that. Oh, hold on here, bot lane. Arrow to the face, flashing away from the solar flare. She goes in for the follow-up, but there's not much damage to speak of as they're turning this fight around with the Soul Shackles. They CC up the Leona, the damage coming in. They will find the kill first as the Morgana's running away and burning down to the Ignite, but the Clear Instinct is just for show as they get the double kill right here onto the Ashe as well. Not necessary, but definitely very flashy.
Well, I think that's just very questionable from the Leona. Why are you doing? You missed your solar flare, but you still try to go in anyway you fight.
Yeah, fighting once more on the top side. The Akali, great dash away, using the Shroud to stealth up and reposition herself. 1v2 and she's forcing two members away. Why not, right?
Yeah, Akali wasn't really backing off. You're not going to be able to chase her at that short of a lane.
Meanwhile, Rift Herald has been popped on the bottom side. Will secure the bot tier 1 and bring the turret count to 3-0.
Alright, well, Ravenclaw certainly has a lot of map to work with. I think now they just have to set up a bit of a vision line into DQ's jungle. Make sure they don't get to play League of Legends around any sort of objectives.
This is the snowball that we were sort of afraid of when we were talking about Ravenclaw's composition. Because when you approach the mid game with like a 7k goal lead, ostensibly in pro games, like the game's over, right? But with a double AP composition, it's even more over because their power spikes are so quick.
Especially when your Kai'Sa, your sole AD damage is actually 6, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
She actually is pumping out enough damage to keep competitive with the rest of DQ.
That build is instant Q evolve already, waiting for one more attack
Yep.
speed item for E evolve. So that's the danger right there. I don't think you want to
That's
engage
enough
onto
evolve.
this, buddy. Looking to back off. The Golden Aegis is not going to be enough to protect the Jarvan as he's going to get popped right here. EQ out. The Ashe in the backline taking the Bear Brown. The damage is Killer Instinct right there was necessary for the kill. They're looking for the second onto the Ashe. The Zoe got the kill credit for the first. Who's going to get the second? It's going to be the Sejuani. Meanwhile, the Laser barely finding any kills as it will chip them down but not finish anyone off.
Again, I have no idea what this Leona's trying to do. I mean, sure, you're Leona, you have engaged potential. Doesn't mean you have to take every opportunity that you see, really.
Yeah, meanwhile, the Zoe's gonna get engaged upon on top of this fight. The EQ combo was enough for the damage, but the stopwatch kept the Zoe alive for a second longer. And like you were saying, you know, very questionable choices from DQ. Picking these unnecessary fights when they're so far behind.
Yeah, and earlier you talked about, you know, how they were able to find the early game advantages, which allowed them to snowball into this. I think it all came down, all came from, you know, finding that early kill onto the Lux, giving your top laner that sort of advantage
Yeah.
to then, you know, sort of push.
Because when you saw the early lead being taken by the Akali, it was simple for the Sejuani to just more or less shadow the Jarvan around.
Yeah.
And as long as you match the Jarvan gank for gank, he's not gonna get anything done. Top is just gonna continue to snowball because of the early kill, and you end up in a game state like this. Akali's just gonna walk around the jungle, find her solo kills wherever she wants to, and the Sejuani is there to protect the rest of the team.
Yeah, last game we really sort of praised DQ's jungler for looking for those constant ganks, but one thing that we didn't really see out of WAF before was the ability to counter gank, which I think the Sejuani has done pretty well.
Yeah, speaking of counter gang, here's the Sejuani for the counter gang using the Shuriken toss to reposition herself. Grand challenge on top of the Akali, but she's not going to find any damage. Meanwhile, the arrow to the face to the Akali is going to stop her in her tracks. Now they turn their sights onto a very tasty boar. Sejuani's gonna be the next one to fall. Chamdoot means shut down in Vietnamese, and ladies and gentlemen, you know what that means. Go back in the pocket of the Ashe. Killer Instinct forward, no into the binding! Ah, that's a fuse map moment! And they go for the rest of the team here as they're going for the kills. The bind not connecting though. I think Jarvan will have his EQ up in a couple of seconds, but Baron is the call right now. 2 shutdowns for the Ashe. Look at the amount of gold she's picked up. She's sitting at 2.2 just off those kills, but meanwhile the Morgana finding the kill credit after the Baron has dealt enough damage to the enemy team.
Yeah, I think it's just a bit of questionable decisions from both sides. If, like, sure, let's praise the Sejuani for actually being there when he needed to, but then you look at all the weird engages and Kai'Sa, you know, using her ultimate
Yeah, what was
dash
that?
into the enemy team, and then DQ after winning that fight going for the Baron when the Zoe is at full HP right next to you guys.
Baron against the Zoe is possibly the most fear-inducing thing that you have to worry about, because she's going to
Yeah.
be raining down Petal Stars second after second, and you have to worry about bubbles as well. And if you smite early, she's just going to steal it and smite it away from you. So there's so many things you have to be careful about. And I don't think that DQ was in a position to even attempt, much less finish the Baron there. So like you said, poor decision making coming through.
Not to mention, they also give over a free kill thanks to Baron. I think if DQ did actually go back and reset, they could have, you know, gotten a greater advantage out of all this.
Yeah, while we are paused, let's take a look at the goal distribution from both teams.
Alright.
So with that fight, Fiora is only 400 behind. Not too bad, not too shabby. But the real story is in the mid lane and AD carry position, right? Before she got double shutdowns, Ashe was about 2,000 gold behind.
Yep.
Now it's sort of reduced to a couple hundred and even 1,000, right? Mid lane though, holy, 2.2k is the lead for the Zoe, and this is after she made a bad, erroneous purchase on the Fiendish Codex.
I mean, you did point out that Ashe did get a little more gold, but I don't think if your Ashe it really matters that much. You're sort of a utility AD carry, you don't really bring that much damage like say maybe a Tristana or a Jinx. Sure, some gold is good, but I don't think it matters all that much to the end.
Baron has been started up by Ravenclaw. They're gonna find a Zoe sitting on the side, and this should be shut down goal going the way of the Lux. Now, this is a 3v4. There is no Akali nearby, so they have to hastily retreat as the rest of DQ are piling down. Great find to stop any further shenanigans as they group up in the mid lane and look to set their sights on the mid-tier one finally, but the wave clear is pretty decent though. Might have to be careful if you are DQ looking to siege down on mid-tier 1.
Yeah, couple of question mark pings over to set one for that interesting positioning, but let's see how far DQ can actually push this lead.
Sitting off the side, there is a Glacial Prison available if they want to take this fight. Meanwhile, Jarvan's leading the charge for DQ. They're tunneling on the back and they find a Leona with the ultimate, but that's not who they want. Meanwhile, Flash Soul Shackles in with the Pocket Watch should be enough to buy some space as the Akali is flanking in, like you said. Ashe will get the first kill on the Morgana. Meanwhile, Jarvan very, very low. Here comes the Akali. Might be enough damage to just finish them off. Perfect execution. We'll get 2. Looking for the 3rd here as the Ashe is left completely untouched in the backline. Meanwhile, the Kai'Sa is the only one alive together with the Zoe that have to play this fight out. A bit of an erroneous overpush there coming from the Akali, completely ignoring the Ashe. So DQ will still stay alive in this fight.
Yep, more question mark things to target selection there. I think you've already pointed it out. The Ashe is right there. Why don't you just go for the Ashe instead of the slightly more tankier Fiora? Sure, Fiora actually might have a little bit more damage at this point. But still, if Ashe is left alone to just pummel your team with arrows, that's not going to be a good feeling either.
Maybe 5 minutes ago I would have been so worried about the Ashe, but she got 2 shutdowns around the Baron that had her convert her items into an IE, and you could see in that fight, completely untouched, just churning out damage auto after auto with those Q augments as well. Jeez.
Ravenclaw does pick up their 4th dragon though. 3 Ocean Drakes, that's actually a respectable amount of regeneration.
The first is like negligible in the mid game, the second makes you feel it, the third one is like we can sit here and siege all day.
Like a mini Warmog.
Speaking of Warmogs, look at Sejuani's inventory. So this is the frontline tanky Sejuani. She's pretty much just gonna soak damage back off in the reset.
Listen, this Sejuani can just disengage. She does not have to go back to Fountain ever again.
The perfect item now is you get the Gargoyle Stone Plate and just be the perfect frontline for her team. Demolish used by the Fiora on the top side to finally secure top tier 1, and currently turret score 4 in the favor of Ravenclaw, 2 in favor of DQ.
It was actually 3-0 earlier. You can see that Ravenclaw's advantage actually slowly began to slip. DQ now beginning to itemize towards MR.
Yeah.
Can actually find maybe find their way back into the game.
Speaking of finding someone, isolated Morgana is a dead Morgana as the Solar Flare completely whiffing off the side means that Kai'Sa can kite around this one. A bit of a misplay coming in from Bimu's Leona.
Yeah, Bimu has to be slightly more accurate on the Solar Flares for them to really make a difference. Sure, it's a good ultimate, it's crucial, it can swing team fights, but it's not gonna do that if you don't hit anyone.
Speaking of hitting someone up arrow onto the Sejuani, but that's not the target you want. She's so tanky, she's gonna soak the damage. She's gonna walk away, but hello, the Kai'Sa in the center of the fight has the killer instinct out, and now she gets caught by the bind. The Pocket Watch gonna find a second longer of survival time, but meanwhile the shutdown goes the way of the Fiora as the Akali is teleporting in for some strange reason. After everything is over, they will get a consolation kill in the form of the Leona though, but overall just questionable decision making once more from Ravenclaw.
Yeah, I think questionable teleports is beginning to become a Vietnamese flavor today.
Oof.
No flame, no flame, no flame. Oof. But we have seen some interesting teleports. We did see. I don't want to use questionable too much, but yeah, it was questionable target selection.
Yeah.
They piled all their high impact ultimates on the Sejuani. If that Kai'Sa was slightly higher, even though he got caught by the light binding, if Lux had saved that ultimate for the Kai'Sa, I think that would have been a much better use of it.
Yeah, the stopwatch is a bit unnecessary as well. Sure, you survive a second longer, but there's pretty much no one around to turn the fight for you. So better you take the early D and go to the grey screen and maybe have your life bar up earlier before the next Baron contest rather than waste an important cooldown like that.
Man, when you're playing an ADC, you just I have to live,
Yeah.
That's
the
mindset.
that's the mindset coming in. Taking stock of the situation. Before we mentioned the largest goal gap was 9k, now it's been reduced to a shadow of 3,000 in favor of Ravenclaw. Still 3,000 at 28 minutes is not a lot.
Yep, Ravenclaw here really has to find and start forcing some fights if they want to close out this game. If not, DQ is really just going to start to build up that much those defenses that may render Ravenclaw pretty ineffective, yeah.
We're reaching that point where double AP compositions are starting to not do as much work as they would like to. Of course, without any sort of magic reduction coming in or magic resistance reduction coming in, they're going to stay that way for a while.
Yeah, not much for these teams to do right now though, except for, you know, maybe set up some vision around Baron. You can see DQ already doing that.
I don't-
Ravenclaw positioning in case they want to start it.
I don't like that they keep sending Akali to the bot lane though, because she doesn't have teleport, and she's at the point where she can't 1v1 Fiora anymore in this long lane, so I would much rather have them play as 5 and then look for picks in the jungle, try their best to assassinate the Ashe or look for the Lux and then convert that into a Baron.
Alright, that's fair. I think still one thing you have to be concerned about is if you leave the Fiora unchecked, she might just keep on pushing. You know, Fiora, of course, that amazing split pusher.
I'll tell you what, man, I'll trade a outer bottom tier 1 for Baron any day.
Alright. But what if you lose that fight and then you lose all the turrets? I think it's a little bit of a contingency
Yeah.
sending one member down to bot lane.
Sitting in the river are the girls from Drama Queens. Good pick potential available. All the major ultimates still up. Enchanted Crystal Arrow as well as Solar Flare. Meanwhile, clearing the wards on the opposite side of the river is the Sejuani. Look at this Fnatic brush that they've set up. They are just waiting for someone to walk in. They're waiting for someone to face check.
At this point, the only person that's really gonna go there if fight.
Fiora versus the Akali, like I said, you know, extended 1v1 is going to go the way of the Fiora, so they're just trading back and forth and trying to land some chip damage onto each other. Meanwhile, around this dragon, you can see leading the charge is the Sejuani, a very, very poor Glacial Prison onto the tank. Front line of DQ though, Black Shield onto the Sejuani means that they might be looking to back off here. She's still leading the charge with the Warmocks. A great stun landing onto the Leona, and now dashing in is the Akali on the flank though. There is a Sleepy Trouble Bubble on the back line. A great frontline protection here coming in, and everyone's just scattering like flies on the DQ side. The Akali not picking her targets though, as they swap forward and they find the kill finally on the Leona. So many low health bars, and this should be the cleanup fight coming in from Ravenclaw. Triple kill on the Kai'Sa with a great target selection coming in. An ace for Ravenclaw.
That's a 5 for 0. There is absolutely no reason that they don't go for Baron right now. And this is exactly the kind of fight that you want if you're Ravenclaw. Perfect front to back allows your Sejuani, who's basically unkillable right now, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
To just run at them.
Mate, she's full health again. They're just walking in.
Portable fountain.
Yeah. 3 Ocean Drakes and a single Warmock's armor means that this Sejuani is just going to be tanking up for days. And with that front-to-back fight, Kai'Sa left completely untouched with the protection, the flank coming in from Zoe Akali as well. There's nowhere for DQ to run.
Now they go for the Baron. I actually don't think DQ has any chance in defending this. They have to deal with their, you know, rather exposed base right now.
Clearing the minion waves out first before they journey into the jungle, but they will get spotted out here by a single control ward. Jarvan will not clear that one out, making her presence known. Meanwhile, down to 5,000 is this Baron buff.
It's gone.
Looking for the execution here. He has the EQ, he has the smite, but no one's going to be secured by the Sejuani, and that's a life traded over for an attempt. A very expensive one in that. Ravenclaw find the Baron buff, they find the early mid inhibitors. 32 minutes in, and they might just be looking for Drake here. Nope, secured by DQ.
Yeah, I think DQ has had a few questionable decisions this game, especially going for that fight. Allowing Ravenclaw to now claw their way back into this game, pun not intended. Doesn't feel very good, but at least DQ does get an Infernal Drake out of that.
It's a very, very minor consolation prize, and we're talking like almost non-existent in the form of the Infernal Drake. Sure, they can claw their way back in, but it's gonna be extremely uphill now after losing a 5-0 fight in the blue buff of their own jungle. Gold lead now opened up once more, ballooning to a 10k lead. Previously 3 and now 10 Gs. What a massive play coming from Ravenclaw.
Yeah, I think for DQ right now, you just really want to hunker down in your base, clear every wave that comes towards you, try to not take any fights, at least until Baron is all over.
The way that they've won previous fights though is just by ignoring the Sejuani and finding the priority targets. Sure, those were largely due to misplays from the Kai'Sa and the Zoe, you know, positioning poorly. But if they can still find those kills, it is a window for DQ back into the game. The Sejuani in the front line, if you focus your target damage on her, it's going to be a poor time.
Yeah, again, earlier we said that, you know, maybe Kai'Sa could not have enough damage to carry her team in AD, but now she's 10-3 and 8, and I think she has that damage again.
Currently see the items as our observers are still on the gold graph, but right now top inhibitor turret is going to fall, and it hurt her surely to go soon after. Sejuani's going to eat the light binding. I don't think she really cares at this point. Just walking up, and she should be able to heal up relatively soon once she's out of combat. Looking at the back line, Kai'Sa and Morgana rotating now down to the bot lane as the Akali has already started the push.
Yeah, I mean, if you're DQ, like I said, you want to hunker down, but Ravenclaw does not want to allow that. If they continue to increase this stranglehold around DQ's neck, I think there isn't actually a good way for DQ to come back.
Now, considering that the Kai'Sa Morgana might be certainly split at some points, you could look to force a pick onto the Kai'Sa with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the Solar Flare. It's all a matter of execution right now, because if she black shields first, well, there's no point in that fight. But if you find the pick on the Kai'Sa, there is a large percentage chance that you actually win the team fight soon after.
That's a good point. I think if you're Sejuani right now, you have to anticipate that. If someone tries to jump on your... Why?
Why indeed, as they look for the final fight and they jump in. Jarvan in the backline, not really going to do all too much. The Kai'Sa's still very low though. And I say that, she killer instincts into the backline and looks for the kill. Chamdu means shut down onto the Akali as they look for the fight. And they get the win. Double kill on the Kai'Sa. Morgana is just sitting here for the BM as they get the third. A triple for the Kai'Sa. They're looking to close this game out, and they will. Ravenclaw proceeding forward in FSL Vietnam as DQ takes the hit.
Missing pings on the Leona, seriously. I don't... Very, very questionable plays.
Could have been much better. You have to think it could have been much better. A lot of those engages were just whiffs on ultimates, whiffs on the opening E's. At points where her team wasn't even there. She was going in for the fights.
I mean, there's not much more to say than that. I think Leona actually has made a lot of crucial mistakes this game. If she didn't do that, I think maybe things would have been slightly different.
Yeah, that's where you got to sit down as a team and decide, you know, how are we going to proceed onward? Because that wasn't a us thing. That was a you thing. You messed up on certain points, but we played okay. I think overall, on a whole, the team executed pretty well.
Okay.
It was a couple individual mistakes that cost them way too much.
I can agree with that. I think we have to give credit over to Sejuani.
Ooh, that late game fight was nasty, man.
Pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was pretty sick.
Just build all the tank items, sit in front of your team. All right, Kai'Sa, you got this. Just kill everyone.
Anytime someone's in range of like W or a Q, you just try and CC them up, land the stuns, and hopefully your Kai'Sa is going to do all the damage that she needs to. That being said, guys, we will be going for a short break. When we come back, we will have the last match of today for you. It's going to be, I believe, the ladies from EVOS, not EVOS, Box Gaming, or rather the victors of Box Gaming Ares team going up against Ravenclaw. We haven't found out who's going to win that game yet. So hopefully, if you are interested, swap over to the Vietnamese stream. You might be able to see the game going on still. But for now, we'll go for a short break. We'll be right back.
See you there.